CBS Power ranks the SEC coaches, and Hugh Freeze is in the bottom half. Is it fair?
This is the Weekend Tailgate. Brought to you by Golden's Cast Iron. C-Dub. Joe. Be Will. By G. You are now listening to
Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. The summer's here. You want to be outside grilling out or staying in shape with your Golden's Cast Iron weights. Work out, grill out, chill out with our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. You can also check out our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever else you don't like, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. And our friends at the Vibe Vault, you can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. If you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, the Vibe Vault has you covered. Not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Guys, join the War Rapport. $5.99 a month will get you there. We are live from the College Football Hall of Fame in just a few weeks, covering SEC Media Days. You can help keep the work that we're doing going by joining as a member. Lots of great member-only content exclusive for you guys there coming from Atlanta, so you don't want to miss out. You can also give the gift of the War Rapport on this live cast by hitting that gifted membership button. See if we can get 20 given away today. Join our podcast and network wherever you listen to your podcast. The War Rapport is there with the Auburn Express Uptempo College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Rapport Gaming Channel, bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. Guys, we got a lot of stuff going on here at the War Rapport. Partake in it all as the season gets closer.
Yes, indeed. We are here, myself, Mike G, C-Dub, live on another Weekend Tailgate. The last Weekend Tailgate, guys, before Auburn goes back over to Nike.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for it.
Before Auburn becomes a Nike school. Very bittersweet moment. So the last, it's not.
Is it though?
It's not. It's not. But it is what it is. But in the midst of all of those things, so before we get into today's topic, this is random curveball situation that I'm throwing out here because we did not discuss this. For those that don't know, Auburn officially goes over to Nike as of July the 1st, which is going to be this Tuesday. And here is the biggest question that has been roaming around social media, and we've talked about this before. I want to talk about it again before we get into today's conversation and before you get into the chat being like, I thought you guys said you were talking about coaches. We are. But I'm throwing a curveball here. Alternate unis, for or against?
For. Because you know why? Because recruits want them. Players want them. And so all those 5 stars that want to come to Auburn, I want to give them one more reason to come to Auburn. UCF just released their alternate uniform things that Nike just put out. Holy hell, guys. Fire. Now, I've always been partial to black and gold, but boy, the black on blacks with the gold UCF on the side, I'm like, come on, man. Now we won't have a black on black, like combination.
No.
But people have been clamoring for the orange jerseys for a while. Is there a version of that we haven't seen yet?
I've been seeing the orange jersey mania that has hit social media with some mock-ups out there.
Yeah, I'm for alternate uniforms. A lot of these old heads that don't mess with the uniform. Come on, man. Listen, you about to start messing with these recruiting rankings. Y'all don't get out of your own way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it, Mike. I agree with the alternate, and I think it needs to be nostalgic in a sense to Auburn wore alternate uniforms against certain opponents. So
Yep.
if you bring it back against certain games, you got a primetime game, and you break out the orange unis against a team like that. Like, to me, I think you're still respecting tradition while satisfying that itch that a lot of people want to see for an alternate uniforms, because you're doing it against an opponent which in the past we may have worn orange jerseys against, right? So you're still keeping up with tradition. I just think being rigid in terms of not allowing them to change the uniforms is getting silly now. Like, obviously this sport is no longer the same college football that it was in years prior. I think as things have changed, we need to change our opinions about uniforms.
Listen, I want to see a midnight blue out, bro. Like, just blue jersey, blue.
Midnight blue out. Have we seen a rendering of this?
I like that.
Yeah, right now.
The navy blue jersey with navy blue pants and blue cleats. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to see
blue field. I'm just kidding.
Auburn fans.
I may have triggered about 75% of the Auburn fans.
Immediately, everybody's out on the idea. Immediately.
A blue out though.
I think it'd be hard, bro.
Sound terrible.
I think that joint would be hard, bro.
If we can't get a blackout,
I like the blue. The midnight blue situation, I think, would be dope.
Midnight blue, I like that.
All right. Anyway, all right. Enough of that. We can have people debate that on their own out there. I'm sure there would be plenty. We could probably clip just those couple of minutes of us talking about that and have people go into a frenzy. But let's talk about CBS Sports. CBS Sports gives their ranking of Power 5 coaches. They do this ranking every year. So they did a national ranking, and all I did was extract the numbers for where they are ranked nationally to give an SEC coach ranking. Coach Hugh Freeze comes in on this list. Drum roll, please. Actually, no drum roll necessary because it's right there in the title of the video. At number 12, Coach Hugh Freeze is ranked 12th in the SEC according to CBS Sports coaching power rankings. What you see here on the screen is their SEC rank on the left side, and in the right column, what that national rank is corresponding to where that comes from. Just to read the list off for our folks over on podcast, number 1 is Kirby Smart, who was also number 1 overall in the country. Steve Sarkisian comes in at number 2, and he is ranked 4th nationally. Brian Kelly at number 3, ranked 8th nationally. Kalen DeBoer, ranked number 9 nationally, is 4th. Lane Kiffin, the 12th ranked coach, is number 5. Josh Heupel at 16 overall is 6th. Eli Drinkwitz, 24th overall, is 7th. Shane Beamer, 28th overall, is 8th. Mike Elko, 29th overall, is 9th. Mark Stoops, 36th overall, is 10th. Billy Napier, 45th overall, is 11th. Hugh Freeze at number 47 in the nation is 12th. Brent Venables, 52nd in the nation, is 13th. Clark Lee, 53rd, is 14th. Sam Pittman, 57th, is 15th. And Jeff Lebby, 68th, is number 16 to round out our SEC coaches. I ask you, gentlemen, how you feeling when looking at this for Hugh Freeze, bottom half of the SEC, 47th overall in CBS coaches rankings?
This list does a really good job of giving Lane Kiffin way too much credit. He's getting way too much credit, guys. So I don't understand Lane Kiffin at 5 even. I don't think he's that good. Hugh Freeze at 12, however. Honestly, the only person I really have a problem being in front of him, because when you talk about coaching, a lot of people will point to results on the field. A lot of people will point at wins and losses to say, oh, well, he's a great coach or he's not a great coach. I think this should encompass everything that is a coach is.
Right.
So when you factor in Hugh Freeze as a recruiter, there's no way we're sitting here and saying that Mark Stoops is ranked ahead of him, especially when you also waxed him up on the field last year. Mark Stoops is really the one I take issue with, rated ahead of him. Billy Napier probably should have been SEC Coach of the Year last year, honestly. With the schedule that he had.
He definitely pulled some magic out of that schedule.
And while everyone was saying he was a dead man walking before the season started.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been a coach that's played with as much pressure as Billy Napier played last year. Dead man walking with the hardest schedule we've ever seen. That schedule was crazy hard. 12 games, 11 Power 5 teams. I think Samford was the only non-P4 game they had on the schedule. Insane. Heupel, he made the playoffs, so hard to argue what they're doing there. Tennessee's recruiting is good. Eli Drinkwitz, I've been a big proponent of the fact that he's done more with less, but the less at this point is his fault. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah, like the less is Drinkwitz's fault.
Yeah, it's his fault, right? Like the fact that your talent stands where it stands,
recruiting.
You've been the coach there for so many years. That's on you. So Missouri should have been a lock for the playoff last year. So I'm starting to view him in the same vein with Lane Kiffin. Why are we giving all this respect to Eli? He should be doing a little better, and we'll see what kind of coach he truly is this year with no Brady Cook and no Luther Burden. Shane Beamer, I get it. South Carolina probably was one of the hottest, if not the hottest team in America headed into the postseason last year. A lot of folks felt like, hey, why aren't they in over Bama? If we're talking about playoff, or neither got in, but you understand, a lot of people say Alabama rated over South Carolina, and man, he was just a few lucky bounces away from making that playoff, man. So I get Shane Beamer. Kirby Smart and Steve Sarkisian, they're clearly the class of the SEC. Brian Kelly, I don't have a problem with him up there either. Kalen DeBoer, I'm sorry, guys. I just don't understand.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Say it with your chest.
He's right. He is riding the ghost of Nick Saban. So we've been all up and down this. 247 now has their composite team rankings, right? Like, so they're rating your talent after the fact. Last year, by composite star, Alabama was the most talented team in the country. That's what he inherited. And he missed the playoff when the bar for making it has never been lower. He didn't have to win the SEC. He didn't have to make the SEC championship game to get in. 10 games and you're in. Now, Alabama's recruiting is doing okay right now, but I'm just not sure he's the big game coach they're trying to sell him out to be. Like, I don't know about all that.
Who, DeBoer?
So, yeah. I'm not sure he's the guy that they want him so badly to be. So
I mean, listen, I think that he still has a lot left to prove in the SEC for sure. But here's my question for you about Kalen DeBoer. Who would you rank ahead of him that's below him on this list?
I put Heupel over him.
Okay, and that would be the first thing that I would think of.
Yeah, I would put Heupel over him. I know we only got 1 year sample size, but yeah, I would think about Mike Elko. I think Brian Kelly rightfully stands over him.
Yeah, I think I don't have any issue with the top three. I think the top three are exactly how I would rank them.
And it's really hard without, again, the results on the field. But I don't know, man. I think Billy Napier is a much better coach than he's getting credit for. Is he a top 5 guy? I think he could border on it. We'll see what they do this year. And then the rest of it, like I said, it's a big lump of guys who just there's not much separation between them, if that makes sense. So after you determine you're like top like 4 or 5, maybe 6, the rest just throwing a pot, man. Like I don't know if there are any truly awful coaches in the SEC. There's not a guy on this list I would look at and say he's an awful coach.
No, I don't think any of them are. Mark Stoops, I'm a little.
Mark Stoops? Okay, yeah.
I'm a little on the fence on Mark Stoops. I ain't gonna hold you. If I look at people on this list, which let me just get this out of the way. I think where Hugh Freeze is pretty fair. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I look at this and I look at Clark Lee beating him last year, Sam Pittman beating him last year, Brent Venables beating him last year, when all 3 of those rosters were, in my opinion, less talented than Auburn.
Okay.
I would say the only thing that is the saving grace there is overall, I believe that, Clark Lee was saved by a really good quarterback as opposed to it being just some phenomenal coaching job that he did.
All right, I'll buy that.
Sam Pittman probably was saved by a phenomenal offensive coordinator, which is a hire that he brought in. But I don't know that was some amazing coaching job that Sam Pittman did last season. That allowed him to have the record that it wasn't a phenomenal record, but it was okay. And then Brent Venables injuries really were the story of Oklahoma last year, not whether or not Brent Venables is a competent coach. So that's the only reason I'm not mad that Hugh Freeze is in front of those guys, because none of them Clark Lee had a better season, but none of them had phenomenal seasons. And again, outside of Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt has not looked like anything with Clark Lee there as the head coach. But Mark Stoops is the one where I'm like, I don't know, cuz I just don't know that he's a better head coach than Coach Hugh Freeze is. So I'm not mad at where Freeze is ranked on this list. He is 47th overall. That's compared to a rank last year of number 33. So he fell 13 spots overall in the nation last year. And reading this from the CBS Sports article, it says Freeze's place in our rankings was not frozen. I see what they tried to do there. In fact, it thawed quite a bit as he fell 14 spots after going 5-7 at Auburn last year. Through 2 seasons, he's only 5-11 in SEC play. And if we go back to his final year at Ole Miss, Freeze is 7-17 in the SEC. Given how quick Auburn has been to pull the trigger before, you wonder what could happen if the Tigers don't make a push in the SEC this season. Again, his ranking last year, 33.
That last line I take issue with from the CBS are like, given how quick Auburn has been to pull the trigger before, pull the trigger on quick to do what? Auburn has not changed coaches that much. I honestly don't understand that. I think that Gus got 8 years. Harsin, everybody understood. Everybody understood why that change needed to happen. He was just a guy that should have never been hired. Yeah, and that's not me taking a shot at Harsin as a coach. That's just me saying, like, as far as Auburn is concerned, he just should have never been hired here. That was never going to work out. And then you got Hugh Freeze. What are we comparing this to when we're saying, given how quick Auburn has been, like, Auburn has, I don't, Gene Chizik, he had one of the shorter tenure, sure, but there was a clear reason for that. I mean, since 2000 or 99 when Tuberville came in, right? You've got that's 26 years. 16 of them have been 2 coaches. On average, I think Auburn is changing coaches less than a lot of other programs. You fired Brian Harsin coming off 2 straight losing seasons. If you fire Hugh Freeze, it will be coming off. It will likely because you're coming off 3 straight losing seasons. Those aren't quick decisions. I don't. Yeah. Okay. So I don't. Yeah. This is what happens when you get people who don't follow Auburn, I guess, writing about Auburn, and they don't understand some of the things they're saying. But
yeah.
But look, to your point about him moving down the list, I get it. If you look at how Auburn lost some of those games, I get people who feel like if the gap between where they are and them being a decent team is still as big, just solely based on talent, you may not have a lot of faith in Hugh Freeze. But that's what he's been saying. They haven't had the guys to run the type of system that they want to run.
That is 100% the messaging that he's put out there these first 2 seasons. Yes.
Now they got him. So what excuse can be used after 3 years? If Jackson Arnold isn't the guy, that's on you. You picked him.
Yeah.
If Deuce is not ready, that's on you. You set that situation up. If Ashton Daniels isn't ready to step in and be a capable backup, that's on you.
Right.
You've got great receivers. Nobody's arguing the talent there. DeMar Alston should be at least a better than average running back in the SEC. I think his ceiling is much higher than that. But he has his detractors. I'm just saying that's not a guy that Hugh Freeze recruited.
Right.
But still, him and Jarquez are 2 of the better, if not the best backs Hugh Freeze has ever had. Defensively, you've got everything you could want there. You told the world that when you made DJ Durkin the second highest paid assistant in the whole country. So I get it. I get why you're down on Hugh Freeze. If you look at the abundance of things around him and you say, he's not getting it done. But I think this year we'll find out how true the messaging was that he just needed his guys.
Right.
Because these are his guys. And what I'm telling you, I don't take offense to him being 12th on this list because I don't, after 5, I don't see a lot of separation between these guys. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I just don't see a lot. There's not one guy after 5, and mind you, these aren't even my top 5. Right? Keep Kirby, Steve, and Brian Kelly in there, but we can argue that there are 2 coaches in the conference better than Kalen DeBoer and Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I mean, how I judge coaching is not necessarily, it's not strictly wins and losses. It is, I think, wins and losses relative to the talent that you have and the schedule that you play.
Yeah.
And which is why I'm so high on guys like Shane Beamer that I think are overachieving their talent level and are over recruiting what is traditionally being done at their school.
Right.
So I think Shane Beamer should be higher on this list of SEC coach rankings because he's done more with less and provided them more than what other coaches have done, right? Like he's not, all-time great, but he has done a really good job with less than amazing talent.
Would you say that South Carolina is a hard place to recruit to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So then, if that is a difficult place to recruit to, then you've got to give him some credit and then recognize
that's what I'm
the
saying.
handicap he has trying to get kids to come to Columbia.
Him getting talented players or being able to recognize guys that are immensely talented, but maybe not on everybody's radar. I don't know what Lenore Sellers' ranking was coming out of high school, right? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I knew he was going to be great. But Shane Beamer saw something in him and said, hey, this guy could be the next whatever. And he proved him right that first season out there, right? So getting him to come in there and then them beating, the likes of Clemson last year, Texas A&M last year, right? Like, I think that he did a really great job of being able to identify guys that work well with what he's trying to get accomplished, that are guys who he can go and get, right? Again, all disrespect to South Carolina and their ability to recruit. I told you guys I'm going to stop saying no disrespect. All disrespect to South Carolina and the ability to recruit high-level players there. He's getting guys that will go to South Carolina, and now he's made it a place where kids can look at and say, oh, maybe South Carolina is a place where I can go and I can be this amazing quarterback for them, right? And that's coming on the heels of Steve Spurrier, right? Who was the quarterback guy and never really got like a quarterback that was crazy good. He was just turning nobody quarter. Like Steve Spurrier was an X and O guy. He wasn't like the best recruiter to South Carolina. but he was able to turn those guys into something when he got them there. I think that Shane Beamer's done a really good job of just going and getting talented guys and letting them come in there and be talented. So you were out of there for a second. See, any thoughts on this rankings, lists, all of that?
I'll speak to Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer has been at South Carolina long enough to be fired by now. Like I look at his predecessor like Will Muschamp.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When Will Muschamp was given the left-footed fellowship out the door at South Carolina, the feeling around that program was that this guy is probably not the guy to get us there. He's probably not the guy to get South Carolina into the conversation where you're considering this team as a potential playoff team. And year 4, Shane Beamer got South Carolina in the conversation. Didn't get him there, but he got him in the conversation. And you have a quarterback with Lenore Sellers to build on. And you got a kid like Landon Duckworth that you're trying to bring onto the fold to keep that success going. The feeling around that program is that Shane Beamer is building upon what prior coaches have done at South Carolina, and he's making them a lot more competitive in the SEC, which is all you can ask of a guy, given that it's South Carolina. So I'm not mad at him being where he is. A lot of guys, listen, I don't really care what they did at prior stops. Like, I don't give a crap what Mike Elko did or what Kalen DeBoer did. This is the SEC power rankings, and I just don't think you have enough information on a Kalen DeBoer to even rank him that high. Because why did he at Alabama not even win 10 games with the talent level that he had?
And a Heisman candidate at quarterback.
Like, I get it. This guy played for a national title 2 years ago, but this is the SEC we're talking about. And yes, he's going to get love nationally because of what he's done elsewhere, but I just don't think he's 4 yet. He hasn't proven to me that he's the top 4 coach in the SEC yet. I would rather give it to someone like a Lane Kiffin. Sorry, Mike. I give it to Kiffin first, because at least Kiffin won 10 games at Ole Miss. You've yet to do it at Bama, and you was given a Ferrari to coach with. You was given this major program that Saban basically gift wrapped and handed to you, and you won 9 games. I get it as year 1, but it's also a reason why I can't put him at 4. I'm not mad at the top 3. And I agree with a lot of what you guys said in terms of once you get out past 5, there's very little degrees of separation between these coaches. I will say, even if you're going to make the argument for wins and losses, there's no reason Mark Stoops is ahead of Hugh Freeze, because he even has a losing record over the past 2 seasons.
Yeah,
Hugh Freeze arguably has a very comparable record, and he's a better recruiter. Knock it off. If we're gonna base it off a record, let's keep it a buck. Mark Stoops has no business being a top 10 coach in the SEC.
Yeah. Look,
that's the one that was a head scratcher to me. When I saw it, I was just like, I don't know where this, like, what are we? And let me see. I'm going to read what they said about Stoops. He is number 36 on their list. And he says, when you're the coach at a program with low expectations, they love you when you exceed them. But the moment you fall back to earth where everybody thinks you should be, well, it gets rough, and it got rough here. After a remarkably consistent run from 2016 to 2023, Stoops' Wildcat team fell to 4-8 last year, while most of our voters only docked him a few points from where he stood last year. One low ballot was enough to knock Stoops down a few extra pegs. He was ranked number 20 last season, fell to 36 this year. So he had a pretty high fall. And this I think this is the one thing maybe that I would critique about the way that they did this. It does seem as if they are judging relative to what they had last year. And it's like, well, we had them up here this high. We can't drop them too far.
Correct. Yeah. Now, instead of just clearing the slate and then re-ranking them based on whole body of work, like, right, you're incorporating not their previous results, but your previous biases into your rankings. Look, I don't know if that whole, when you're the coach of a program with low expectation quote, I don't even know if that makes sense. Talking about how, hey man, they love you when you exceed those expectations. I mean, like that's everywhere.
That's coaching. That's coaching. That's what happens.
What I do understand about what they're attempting to say is that if he had the record he had at Kentucky the last couple of years at a school like Texas, he wouldn't have survived this long. But But when you're at Kentucky and you win 8 games, everybody's like, oh, good job. Mark Stoops won 8 games at Kentucky. That's great.
Mike, here's how I look at it. If he's that guy, he wouldn't still be at Kentucky. Someone would have plucked him by now. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
If you're that dude, if you're winning 8 games consistently at Kentucky, because again, they're not asking you to win 10 games at Kentucky, but if you're winning 8 consistently, given that, someone would have come calling for Mark Stoops a long time ago. Mark Stoops won 4 games last year. Like, he's up and down. Like, he'll have a good year this year, but he'll come back down to earth, and it'll like Kentucky again. If he was consistently being a thorn in team side, he wouldn't be at Kentucky still. That's just how it is. He would have ascended up the coaching ranks and be at a program where he's expected to win.
Let him tell it. Texas A&M came calling in the offseason, and he turned the job down to stay at Kentucky. And then he went 4-6. Like, I don't like when they were supposed to be hiring. When they hired Mike Elko, the rumor was that Mark Stoops was the guy who they had tabbed as the one that they wanted to go in there and replace Jimbo with. And then he turned them down, and then they turned to Mike Elko.
Do I leave Kentucky where my job is incredibly secure, or do I go to A&M where they expect more of me?
It's essentially what he did. That's essentially what he did. He's like, do I want to avoid expectations and allow mediocrity?
Do I stay at this basketball school where no one gives a crap if I win 5 or 6 games? Okay, yeah, I stay here. Yeah, I'm happy here. Good for you, Mark.
Mark Stoops, a.k.a. Mr. Duck the Smoke.
Absolutely.
He wanted absolutely no parts of those oil boosters in his office every couple of hours, asking him
oil boosters.
What happened?
I'm not getting one of those Jimbo buyouts. No, I'll stay here. I'll stay here in Kentucky.
Yeah, for some I was picturing like oil pumps. I was like, where's he going with this? Boosters, yes, the guys with the money.
Yeah. They be in his office every couple of hours, like we lost another game here. Mark, what's going on?
What's going on?
How quickly do you think Mark Stoops would have survived at Texas A&M? Like how long would that tenure have been?
Oh man,
about 3 to 4.
You think he survives 4 years?
I give him 3 max.
If he makes it a full 3,
depending on what he does.
No, I'm just knowing
based on what he's been doing.
Right, knowing what you know about Mark Stoops as a coach right now. Do you think
about 3? I'll give him 3.
More money at Texas A&M would have made him the kind of coach that meets the expectations that Texas A&M as a program have, considering now that Texas is in the conference, right? And they're back on that whole state of Texas thing. How long would Mark Stoops have lasted at Texas A&M? If he made it 3 years, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'd be shocked. And again, I don't think Mark Stoops is a bad coach. I don't know.
He is where he needs to be.
It's a good fit.
That's all I'm saying. This is my point. He is where he needs to be.
Him and Sam Pittman, man, just don't leave, bro. Like your tenure, you know what I'm saying? Just
I hate it. Is Sam Pittman is such a good guy.
He is a good guy. He is a good guy. All right, so hold on. I want to continue this conversation, and I want to continue it down the path that we are on right now. And we're going to play. We've done this before with quarterbacks once before last season when we were doing it with Peyton Thorne. I want to play this or that, i.e. Coach Freeze versus the field. Who would you rather take? And we're just going to go 1 through 15 here. Coach Freeze head to head with these coaches. And we'll see where we land with our own forced power rankings in the SEC in that way. Before we get over here to this break, I want everybody who is out here in this comment section to go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Make sure that you're sharing the content with somebody so we get some more folks involved. I see some Bama folks in here. Appreciate you guys coming in here and contributing nothing to the conversation. But you're good to stay and continuing saying things that don't make sense. I am fine with that. You are watching the Weekend Tailgate. We'll be right back after this quick word from our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
This episode of the Weekend Tailgate is brought to you by friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. Get outside, work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. Also want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever else you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. I personally use the sleep gummies almost every single night. They help me get a good night's rest. They can help you as well, too. As always, let them know that the War Report sent you when you go over there. Our guy Richard is a great sponsor of the show. Check us out on podcast, guys. Every single podcast platform. We are there bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content with the Auburn Express, Up-Tempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report, a gaming channel. When SEC Media Days gets here, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on really quickly. Some stuff we'll get as much up on YouTube as we can. But if you really want to follow what we're doing, please go subscribe on podcast. We're going to have amazing content coming out in audio-only format for SEC Media Days. Also, guys, you can help us by joining as a member. $5.99 a month will get you there. Patron level members right now are enjoying lots of great film reviews that Ike is doing for you guys. This is a look like you're not going to get at Auburn players. So we've actually got a lot of all 22 looks there for you guys to look at. Very insightful if you want to see and learn and hear the game at another level. The film reviews are the way to do it, and the patron memberships are how you get there. So please go check that out. Also, guys, check out our written work at thewarreport.com or theauburnexpress.com, where we are posting articles going a little bit more in depth on Auburn sports in a way that you guys may not have been accustomed to. So please go check out our written work at thewarreport.com.
All right, let's get over here into this comment section before we get into this second segment. I will start it off with our guy, WK Sweat, who says, I'd like to see a variation uniform for at least one home game a year. Yeah, man. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong pivoting back into that conversation with seeing a little something different in the uniforms every now and then. You don't have to change uniforms every game like Oregon, but you can give an alternate road or an alternate home uniform. So I would say twice a year. He said once a year, one road game a year, one away game a year. Throw a little something different on there. I liked when they did the different helmets, right?
Okay.
When you went to the all white face, the white face mask with the stormtroopers. I thought that was fire. When they went to the orange masks, I especially liked it with the home uniforms. They had the blue jersey with the orange mask. They did that first Halloween situation. I thought that was super dope.
Yeah, the stormtrooper. They call it the stormtrooper look with the all white.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And stuff. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool.
Now that we're Nike, I trust them to be able to do that. Like even like whenever we start back playing LSU and we go on the road against them, do something then. I mean, since it's a road game, go ahead and do something cool then on the road. Like I'm all for it.
I couldn't help myself. We were talking about the blue out. I asked AI, like, show me the blue out. Right? Is this what we're thinking?
That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Other than that ugly Under Armour thing on there, I think it's dope.
Yeah, they haven't updated the prompts yet. I told them to put a Nike logo there. And then, is there an orange out in our future? Is there a version of an all orange unit?
I'm not mad at the all orange situation. I know people. I think there collectively were some people who just passed out when they saw this image get up on the screen here. I'm not mad at this either, man. Like you still have the traditional Auburn colors represented well in that.
I think there's a dope world where you could do a blackout with the orange and blue, but whatever.
Like I said, the midnight blue though, that whole midnight blue situation, I think is hard, bro.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Like just all
That's
blue.
tough. That's tough.
With the helmet does it for me.
Yeah.
Right. The all blue helmet with the orange logo on the side.
Now, what type of face mask? It has to be all blue, right? So I'm not feeling the one on the right.
I like the one on the left with the blue face mask a little bit better than the one on the right. But yes, and then the power stripe on the right isn't correct, right? Like the alternate white orange.
Yeah. The left definitely. The left definitely.
Yeah. This look like AI Michael Riley in here. I don't know why they made it look like Michael Riley, but it definitely looks like him in the thing. I think these would be great. So would these be home jerseys?
Yeah, probably it'd be home.
These would be home jerseys. Yeah. Okay. I think
you like. Listen, I hate to give them credit for this, but y'all remember when Georgia did the blackout?
Yes.
I know.
See, black is a part of their color scheme already. So
that's what I'm saying. But see, they came out like I think they warmed up in the regulars,
yeah.
And then they came out in the black jerseys. Like it'll just be dope if Auburn came out in their regular.
Us too, but
I know.
But Caesar,
but you come out all like it's already a sea of blue. It's already a sea of blue in the stadium, and then Auburn just come out in all blue, and it's up. We up from there.
But what made
especially if it's a night game, bro.
Yeah.
Goodness,
Yeah. What made that so hard was it was not just a blackout, but like their crowd being blacked out as well too. Yeah. And then at night, and everybody whipped the cell phones out. Like, come on, dude. They turned Sanford Stadium into an abyss. Like it was literally a wormhole. I was, man, it'd be cool to see something like that at Auburn. Just the old heads, get over yourselves, man. Come on, man.
And listen, it doesn't kill tradition. It's not as if you're throwing away the traditional uniforms. It's once or twice a season, bro. You got 12 games. Can we get 2 times? 10 other games, you get every other uniform combination you normally would have.
It's Nike, so they're gonna do right by us. It's not like you're trusting Under Armour to do this, right? Because they can easily mess this up. But it's Nike, so Nike. This is what Nike does. So now that Auburn is with Nike, I trust them to play around with the different uniforms now.
Yeah. Super chat here. Appreciate the super chat from Lawrence. I believe what he meant to say is, do we take article submissions for the website? Would we take fan written content to go up on the website? We had not considered it. I ain't gonna lie to you and sit here and act as if that's a conversation we've had before. But what I will say is, we want more written content up on the website. And so if there are people who want to be writers, you're aspiring to be a writer. I'm making this decision right here on the fly. I hadn't talked to nobody about this. business@thewarreport is the email. Get in touch with us. Maybe we can see what we can do to get some more writers involved with what we got going on at the website. Would not be mad at that idea. We just have to figure out how to make it make sense. You know what I mean? Let's see what else we got here. Ant Robinson, okay, y'all mad, but what has Hugh Freeze proven here at Auburn? He's not talking about we are mad at the War Report. He's talking about in the comment section, people were saying CBS is smoking and all that kind of stuff. And again, I think that we generally think that that's probably where he needs to be on the list. I don't think that Coach Hugh Freeze has accomplished much at Auburn other than the recruiting aspects of it and apparently funding a year's worth of salary at the Auburn golf clubs. Like, he hasn't done much at Auburn University. But, to the point that he's been trying to make over and over again, he hasn't had the guys that he needed to do the things he wants to do. This year is the year where it's like, okay, let me see some. You got it all. Let me see some. So I'm ready to see what it looks like.
I think that for everyone who's upset that Ant's talking about, if you take the perspective that he's not that much better or worse than the people ranked ahead and below him, it's just not a ton of separation. Yeah. So being 12 sound may look bad, but the truth is that it's micro.
I think this is the other thing that you want to look like. I say again, other than Mark Stoops, the question is nationally, is he ranked where he needs to be? Really, right? Like,
yeah.
Matt Rule is ranked number 32 ahead of him. I'm just going to name coaches that are ahead of him right now. Fran Brown at Syracuse. And I'm only going to name guys not in the SEC. Manny Diaz at Duke. He's only been there for a year. And I don't know that Manny Diaz as a head coach outside of Duke was amazing. Like, I think he was just kind of.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of disrespectful.
That one's a little okay. Greg Schiano at Rutgers is ranked ahead of him. Rich Rod at West Virginia, who has just now gotten back into the P4 realm, or the FBS realm. That one's a little
he
okay.
Was at Jacksonville, wasn't he?
Yes, he was at Jacksonville State prior to this.
That's disrespectful.
Willie Fritz at Houston is ranked above him. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Jed Fish at Washington is ranked above him. Dave Aranda at Baylor. Game 1 out the gate. Somebody ranked above you. What you gonna do, Hugh? Pat Narduzzi at Pittsburgh. Sonny Dykes at TCU. Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Deion Sanders, number 33 at Colorado. Matt Rule at Nebraska.
It's kind of low for Deion. Dave
Doran at NC State. Brent Key. I think Brent Key is a really good coach at Georgia Tech. PJ Fleck at Minnesota. Kalani Sitake at BYU. All round out the people just outside the top 25 that are ranked ahead of Hugh Freeze. I'm not really mad at most of those folks, except for the ones that ain't really coached nothing yet, and they're put above him.
Right.
Yeah. BYU's coach, Kalani Sitake, his quarterback is embroiled in some pretty nasty stuff right now. I doubt he plays. You're going to find out what BYU is real quick next season. There were another team that should have been in the college football playoff.
I think they had a bad loss towards down the stretch. They
had a clear path, Caesar.
Yeah, they had a bad loss.
It was just there was a group of Big 12 schools that
like SMU sent them a Christmas present for the loss they did to put them in, because SMU was on the outside looking in. They were clearly outside the club. Yeah,
like there's a group of Big 12 schools there with BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, Kansas State. All those guys had a shot to make that playoff, and they blew it. So I don't really want to hear nothing from them coaches about not being treated fairly. They had a chance to get at least the 3 teams in the playoff. They didn't hold up their end of the bargain. But Hugh Freeze in that group makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I think Sitake is a pretty good coach, a really good coach.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. A couple more here, and then we'll get back into our this or that segments. Lawrence says winning at Duke and having a shot at the SEC championship had they beaten Texas in year 1 is pretty good. Talking about Mike Elko there. He goes on and says, I think Elko is better than Eli Drinkwitz.
I could buy this.
I'm not mad.
I think Mike Elko is a really good coach. So I'm
not mad at that. I actually think they did. Texas A&M, if we're to believe that that Stoops turned them down, I think that it worked out well for A&M. I think Mike Elko is a clear upgrade over their prior coach and a better option than Stoops.
Let's just talk about that for a second, and I'll use this to pivot into the next segment. I don't know what Texas A&M saw that said, "Hey man, let's go get that guy over there at Kentucky that's been mediocre for a long time. He's the one." Yeah. I don't know what made them say that was going to be the remedy to get all those things done. But so let's talk about it here. Clearly, I want to frame this properly. At Auburn, not just some anomalous program out there, knowing what you know about where Auburn, we've had this conversation about Auburn, where they rank as far as how much money they have to be able to spend, and the climate that is existent in Auburn around who's in charge, right? You heard all that entire debacle with Brent Venables being like, I don't know if I want to go coach there because who would I be reporting to? So who the climate at Auburn, Who would you rather have as your head coach? We're going to go one by one and say, all right, they had to inherit the same kind of program. If you could just magically wave your wand and say, this guy, instead of Hugh Freeze getting hired 2 seasons ago, I think obviously you take Kirby Smart, right? Kirby Smart over Hugh Freeze. Let me have him every day of the week. Is anybody going to contest that? Kirby Smart at Auburn would be a phenomenal hire.
Anytime you mention Kirby Smart in terms of potentially being hired at Auburn, there's like a pit in the bottom of my stomach that turns.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk about Kirby Smart, because of what we've known to be true in the past at Auburn and how Auburn is. Yeah, that's yes. To answer your question, Ike, yes, I would take Kirby Smart. Unfortunately, Auburn wouldn't.
Yeah, I will say this to add to what Caesar's saying. Kirby Smart, yeah, it resoundingly yes, because we know what his stipulations would have been for taking the job that they would have had to agree to, which is give me the keys and get out of the way.
Right.
And that's why he's not here. Reportedly, that's why he didn't take the job.
Right.
Yeah.
Is because too many chefs in the kitchen. Who would he have been reporting to?
Right.
And they weren't going to let him do what he wanted to do. And that was non-negotiable.
Win games.
Yeah. Like, wow, man. I mean, there are people, with money that would rather lose their way than win somebody else's way.
Yeah. I mean, again, resoundingly, I think we're overwhelmingly saying, yeah, Kirby Smart, we would take him. And again, now I will say no disrespect to Hugh Freeze in any of this stuff, but I just, again, I think Kirby Smart's one of the best college football coaches in the country right now, if not the best. So yes, I would take number one over whatever you rank Coach Hugh Freeze, regardless. Hugh Freeze or Steve Sarkisian, inheriting the program that they had at the time, coming off of Brian Harsin. You taking Sark or you taking Hugh Freeze?
Probably taking Sark. It's hard to say no to one of the best, if not the best, play caller in college football.
Yeah. I think what Sark would have done with the players available to him would have given Auburn a couple more wins.
Yeah. He's the best play caller in college football.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen. Yeah, I don't think. Obviously, you need players, but I don't think his system would have been so heavily dependent on having his players. I think he would have been able to make lemonade out of lemons had he been Auburn's coach 2 years ago, coming onto the Plains, and the guy can recruit. So yes, I'm not mad at Sark. And you got to give him credit because Texas has been kind of swimming in mediocrity for a program of his magnitude.
That's true. I think people forget where how the Texas program had a couple of dud coaches that weren't able to really get it done, and Sark has kind of resurrected them to being back to where people in that community in Austin think that program should be.
This is why when fans do that whole kind of disrespectful, well, even I could win X amount of games with these players and those resources. Like, no, you couldn't. And we've seen it. We've seen it, right? Like we've seen
coaches squander talent for sure.
Yeah, you can have all the resources available to you, all the talent in the world, and you can coach them down.
Yeah, Texas wasn't hurting for resources or talent.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher is living, breathing proof of that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I mean, all the resources you could want. Well, at the time we were calling the best recruiting class in the history of college football, he got fired. And not only did he get fired, he got fired in a manner that we may never see again in college football. They went to extraordinary lengths to fire him. Right? They made economic moves to fire him. $70 million to fire somebody? Yes, you can absolutely mess up the talent and resources available to you, and not everybody can do it. So, yeah, for the guys who have, just give them their credit.
Yeah,
give them their credit.
Yeah, I think this is to your point, Mike G, where it starts to get hairy. Hugh Freeze versus, maybe not Brian Kelly. Who would you rather have?
Oh, man. Y'all know I hate Brian Kelly.
I'm very aware.
However, when you look at what Brian Kelly traditionally has been able to do with quarterbacks, I would say he has a better track record, a better and more recent track record with quarterbacks that would be hard to say no to.
I'd agree that his record his track record with quarterbacks of recent has been really good. Is that Brian Kelly doing that? Like, I mean, I don't even, does he have like a QB guy, or is it Brian Kelly back
I
there?
don't know.
I'm giving him the credit because he's an offensive guy, and we know he has.
It's definitely his system that they're installing. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, those guys are playing in that system.
Your mic muted randomly. I don't know what just happened there.
I'll go.
Am I back?
Are you back? You back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's the guy he would have had in 2012 at quarterback at Notre Dame? Brady
Quinn?
Yes,
Quinn.
Quinn. That was the quarterback at, I don't know what year it was, but he was definitely a Notre Dame quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. He's had some decent quarterbacks over the years, but Jayden Daniels was just, I mean, I was a big champion for him winning the Heisman outright. I don't think it was particularly close with anybody else in the country. And Jayden Daniels and Nussmeier may not have the overall talent that Jayden Daniels has, but certainly, he was a 4,000-yard passer. He came in and won the SEC West in his first season. I mean, instant results.
Yeah, he got it done. He found his quarterback in the portal in Jayden Daniels, and went out there and turned him into a Heisman guy in his second season.
He was pretty good that first season too. Like, people,
he was okay, but see, here's the thing: they adapted the offense, so it's like, all right, cool, you're not making all the reads you need to, so they're like, you've got this really great athleticism. Let's build the offense around this athleticism a little bit more and give you time to learn the offense. And in the second season, once he had learned that offense, they unleashed his arm and he went crazy. But again, you have to assume, I don't know, with the resources available to him, would he have been able to put the same kind of talent around those guys? I don't know, but I'd be hard pressed to say no to Brian Kelly, even with my personal misgivings about him as a coach. Yeah, he does come up short in the big games.
I'm going to have to defect from both of you two on this one.
I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it.
I'm going to have to part ways with you. Listen, Lawrence was basically commented what I was thinking. I don't trust anybody who messes up LSU's defense. I don't trust I don't care what you do offensively. If you can make that program's defense look that bad,
I'm not mad at it.
Thank you.
I'm not mad at it.
And Auburn fans,
that's why I said this is to me where
defense.
It gets hairy.
Yeah, no.
Wait,
I think I know where this next one is going.
What year did he get there? Was it 2022?
This is going to be his fourth season coming up. Fourth or fifth season, I can't remember. All right,
fifth.
Kalen DeBoer or Hugh Freeze, again, coaching at Auburn. Auburn's resources coming off of Brian Harsin. You taking Hugh Freeze, taking Kalen DeBoer.
It's so hard not to answer this without bias. That's tough. That's tough for me. That's tough.
I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I'm going Hugh Freeze here because of recruiting. I'm not sold that Kalen DeBoer is a great recruiter. And as much as recruits have been popping up with taking pictures with Nick Saban down there in Alabama right now, I'm not convinced he's responsible for what they are doing in recruiting right now.
I'm going to say Hugh Freeze just because the jury is still out on DeBoer. The jury's still out on him. He could prove to be the guy. Obviously, if you're an Auburn fan, you're banking on it not being the case.
Yeah.
But he's only been there a year. Again, we don't know. To your point, Ike, we don't even know if the dude is really that great of a recruiter yet.
Right.
We don't know that.
Inherited a bunch of talent. That was not Hugh Freeze's situation. Did not inherit a bunch of talent.
He
At least
supposedly
not to the
hired
level
his
of Bama.
OC. He hired his OC from the Seahawks. That
Yeah.
was supposed to join him last year. The jury's still out on this guy.
For sure.
Until then, I'm gonna stick with Hugh Freeze.
Yep, the Pac-12 guys. You guys know how I feel about them as a conference.
How do you feel about them? I'm confused.
It's barely football. Like, yeah, and every time they get to on a national stage, they can't carry the flag. I mean, how many times have they failed at this? Oregon, Washington, right? Like, I just don't think that they play good football. I don't think they play good defensive football.
Might say it's barely football.
Yeah, it's really hard. And it was like, oh, they threw for X amount of
passes
yards.
for Brian Kelly.
Yeah, everybody throws for 3,000 yards in the pack. Now you've brought that to the SEC, and it was instantly worse because the level of talent that you go up against week in and week out, not from a coaching standpoint, is much higher than what it was in the pack. You got to worry about everybody. You got luck. I mean, Alabama's very fortunate. They have a 5-loss season. They were a couple bounces away from 5 losses. I'm not convinced, as you guys have said, that they don't continue to trend in that direction this season.
We will definitely see what happens there over in Tuscaloosa.
Nick Saban had one of the greatest runs, I think, that we've seen in college football in recent memory at finding that guy at quarterback. And I think Milroe was good, but I'm not sure he was that guy at quarterback. It was the guy DeBoer inherited. But this year, when he's got to pick the guy and he's got to be good in the SEC, I think this will tell us a lot about him as a coach.
Yeah.
About whether it'll work.
All right. Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin.
Oh boy, now this is a tough one.
I mean,
this was literally the choice that they had.
This is a tough one. Auburn made that choice, right?
Right. Auburn already made this choice. If you were on the search committee, which way are you voting? Lane Kiffin or Hugh Freeze?
I'm going Hugh Freeze. And
why is that?
Hear me out. We've already seen how Lane will recruit from high school. And he's got results to sell. He's got proof of concept. Supposedly, if you talk to Ole Miss fans, they have all the NIL they need to get the job done.
Lane would have more NIL at Auburn than he has at Ole Miss.
Yes, right, yeah. But would he put the effort behind it? Because I think what we're seeing at Auburn in recruiting is you got a ton of resources, but you also have that dog mentality on the recruiting trail.
Right.
Lane Kiffin has quite literally never had a dog mentality on the recruiting trail. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure that he knows who their recruits are before they sign. I'm quite sure Lane Kiffin walks into their recruiting war room, is like, who do we get, guys? All right, we'll work with them. send me their profiles, we'll work with them. That's kind of been his attitude to recruiting. And after the fact, kind of deal, go to the portal and find a QB. If they had at least one time got a guy from high school that they developed, I would buy Lane Kiffin over Hugh Freeze. But
we're going to see this year. Austin Simmons is his guy out of high school, and we will see. This will be the season to be able to answer that question.
It's just been so long, and he just hasn't done it. What do you like right now? Do you like the potential that Auburn has with the talent that Hugh Freeze has brought in over what Lane Kiffin has established over? I think that this Auburn team, while we don't know where their floor is at, their ceiling is so much higher. We're talking about this wide receiver room as one of the best units in the country.
Yeah.
Tell me which position group at Ole Miss right now that we're talking about is One of the best in the country.
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know that there is one that we're saying that group may be the best in the country.
Best in the country?
Yeah.
Defensively, Auburn's pretty damn good in the defensive backfield.
That's that you making some good points, because I actually was going, as much as I bag on Lane Kiffin, I was gonna go Lane here based upon the first 2 years results, because I believe Lane Kiffin may have gotten Auburn more wins in those first 2 years just with cobbling together some stuff. But in the long term, I do think that Hugh Freeze was the correct decision from a recruiting standpoint. Lane Kiffin would have taken a more right now approach as opposed to the gradual build approach that Hugh Freeze has done. I think that is the better approach over time, but this has got to be the year you get over the hump. But right now, I might say Lane Kiffin 2 years ago, I still was in the Hugh Freeze camp, and I'll stick with what I said at the time, which was I think Hugh Freeze was the right hire.
I think I still believe that too. I just think that it's a tough decision. Listen, Auburn was we're to believe Kiffin was the guy, and I just think if we're going to make the argument about what Brian Kelly does with quarterbacks, we have to also respect that argument, that we have to respect what Kiffin is doing with quarterbacks, and how scouts was loving Jackson Dart. We don't know what he's going to do at the next level. And if this the Simmons kid is anything to write home about, Kiffin is putting together an impressive pipeline of QBs that will thrive at his program again. And I'm impressed with what he's done with Ole Miss. It was kind of a wasteland of sorts when Kiffin got there, and so for them to even though we bag on Kiffin, and rightfully so, for truly having a red carpet rolled out to get into the college football playoff last year, to think that Ole Miss should have been in the college football playoff is a testament to what he has done since being there. And I do think that is what has made him an attractive candidate for a head coach at a bigger school for Lane Kiffin. And that's why Auburn was looking exactly for this particular coach. It's tough because I still think Hugh Freeze can actually prove the people who hired him right by going out and ascending Auburn and getting Auburn there as well. So it's a tough decision. I'm not mad at you if you went Lane Kiffin over Hugh Freeze. I'm not mad at it.
Hugh Freeze or Josh Heupel?
I like what Heupel has been able to do at the QB position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the best at it, but he's been pretty damn good.
Give me Heupel in this scenario. I think I would take Josh Heupel.
I mean, if you're talking about overall ability to recruit, coach them up on game day, develop, put some exciting offenses on the field, I'm probably going to take Heupel.
Yeah, he's put a good defense out there on the field as well. So I think I'd take Josh
Heupel.
I'm gonna take Heupel too, because Tennessee was also that program like Texas that was in the dumps for a long time, and now he's got them clicking.
Hugh Freeze versus his good friend Elijah Drinkwitz.
I'm taking Hugh. I think that we know where Drink's ceiling is at. I'm not quite sure we know where Hugh Freeze's ceiling is at.
Okay.
He's got more resources than he's ever had, and they're on the cusp of something really special. and people are tired of hearing that message, but it really is that close.
Yeah.
Every time we do a statistical breakdown of Auburn last year, it is insane to think that they finished 5-7. Statistically, when you look at where they were at,
really crazy situations that'll land you there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, it's if I didn't show you the record and just showed you where Auburn finished statistically in the conference, you would have thought they were 7
at
and
least,
5.
I'm about to say at least worse. 7. Yeah, at least 7 wins. You would have thought.
And so I never know with Missouri. I mean, their floor is still miss a bowl game, which is crazy. Their floor is still miss a bowl game. And they've seen all those peaks and valleys under Drink. But the fact that they couldn't get it done last year, man, there were 3 more SEC teams other than the 3 that made it. Should have had cakewalks to the playoff. Finding ways to F it up is why I can't take Drink here. I don't, and I think it got harder. I don't think that they have a better quarterback than Brady Cook this year.
I have no idea. I literally don't know what to make of that quarterback room at Missouri this year.
I don't think that they have a better receiver than Luther Burden was last year. I don't know if they got better. He's done a good job doing more with less. But as I said earlier, he is the reason why they're consistently having to do more with less. Every once in a while, they get a gem in recruiting. We say, "Oh, look, Missouri." It's just not enough.
Right.
It's not enough.
I think he could do a decent job at a bigger program with more resources. I do. I think the argument that CBS tried to make for Stoops, I think it fits Eli perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that
school
the
where
argument,
they don't necessarily expect a bunch out of you. So if you don't do a lot, people are like, "Oh well, it's Missouri. What do you want out of them?" But when they do great, it's like, "Oh my God, Drinkwitz is amazing."
I think they describe Eli more than Mark there.
Yeah.
So I think Eli I think he's a really good coach, especially what he's done with Missouri. I'm just going to have to take Hugh. Because I think you make a good point. I think Hugh's ceiling may be higher than Eli's. I really do. So I'll take Hugh.
All right. Next up, Shane Beamer or Hugh Freeze. You gotta go start going through these a little bit faster here.
Coach Soldier Boy. I'll take Hugh Freeze.
Okay. I think I'd actually take Shane Beamer here, man. I think Shane Beamer. Again, I have to look at what he's done at South Carolina and say, could he reproduce that kind of thing with better resources here at Auburn? I'd have to say yes. And I might take Beamer here.
Yeah,
I'm not mad.
I don't know. It's hard for me not to believe that we've seen about where their ceiling is. He's been there long enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's South Carolina where their ceiling. I think if you give him Auburn's resources, I think he goes a little bit further. Is my point.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a stick. I'm gonna put it to you this way. It took a while, though.
It did.
It took a while for him to.
But again, that's at South Carolina.
True, but it still took a while. Just like it's taken a while here, but Auburn's talent is undeniable at this point. I'm gonna stick with Hugh. I'm not mad at that choice for Shane, but I'm gonna stick with Hugh on this one.
All right. Hugh Freeze or Mike Elko?
I'm actually probably gonna go Mike Elko here. I like Mike Elko.
I'm partial to defensive-minded head coaches.
Yeah,
Mike Elko brings a level of nasty. Now, I do realize he's got Texas A&M's resources behind him, but I do go back and look at how he changed a program at Duke that was a basketball school, clearly, and had them over there in a weak ACC nonetheless, but competing at that school. I'm taking Mike Elko in this.
Yeah, I got it. I'm not even finna play with this one. He's the last of what the type of head, like these type of gritty schools that like defensive minded. This is your guy right here. I think he would be a good hire for any school. So I would go Mike.
Yeah, I'll go with Hugh Freeze.
Okay.
Word.
If anybody, Mark Stoops versus Hugh Freeze.
I'll take the ghost of Hugh Freeze over Mark Stoops.
I'll take I'll take first year at Liberty Hugh Freeze over Mark Stoops. Right
I
okay.
Yeah, I don't even know why there's a debate here. Billy Napier or Hugh Freeze.
Man. Oh, this is close. See, remember I told you there's not a lot of separation after
What a way to
5.
redeem yourself, man. What a way to redeem. The fact that we're asking this question in 2025, this question deserves some respect.
If we asked this question last year, this answer would have been very different in the offseason last year.
Yeah. The fact that we're having this discussion in 2025 is like I have to pause. I'm gonna go with Hugh because I think Hugh's a better recruiter. I think Billy Napier has a lot of resources at Florida. Probably should be doing better than what he has been up to this point. I'm gonna say Hugh.
This one is a very tough one for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stick with Hugh Freeze here, and for a lot of the reasons you just said, Caesar, is I think Florida is better resourced than Auburn is. And so for Auburn to even be able to compete with Florida in recruiting is a testament to what Hugh Freeze is able to do there. But the reason why this becomes difficult for me is because of what I think Billy Napier is as a football coach and a motivator of young men to go out there and get dubs.
He showed me something last year.
In situations where it looks hopeless. Like
we've
talked about, like the level of despair that is in that Auburn locker room sometimes, and the mentality. And Billy Napier found a way to get their guys focused and out of that. And go out there and compete last year. He brought in DJ Lagway and he found a way to go win games. So, but I think I'm going to take Hugh Freeze here, but I'm putting a lot of faith in you, coach, to make it happen this year.
Hugh. No, Billy.
It's that this one's for me. This one's I ain't mad going either way. I'm really not.
Like I said, man, Billy, like the fact that he's still here, like you want a coach that's resilient like that. Like if you lose your first 2 games of the season, you got a coach who can still pull your team up out of that and still have a good season. Like, and that's Billy has proven he's capable of that. So I'm not mad at that.
Brent Venables or Coach Hugh Freeze?
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I've never been a Venables fan. And I think that we'll see a lot about what he's made of as an SEC head coach now that he's got Mateer at quarterback. Yeah, there's a lot of folks that feel like that solves almost every single issue that Oklahoma had. Their wide receiver core won't be completely decimated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking Hugh Freeze over Brent Venables. Again, I am going resource for resource here. There is something to be said about Hugh Freeze being able to deal with the climate that Brent Venables clearly was not comfortable with coaching in at Auburn. And Hugh Freeze is able to navigate that. Give me Hugh Freeze at Auburn over Brent Venables at Auburn.
Yeah.
Clark Lee or Hugh Freeze?
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh.
Yeah, the only thing that Clark Lee would have done was maybe go get Diego Pavia out of the portal. So, yeah. Sam Pittman or Hugh Freeze?
Hugh.
Gonna have to take Hugh, man. Look, Sam's a great guy.
Hugh. Let's just not even suspense. It's Hugh the rest of the way for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think I would take Jeff Levy over Hugh Freeze either.
No, yeah. I mean, look, Sam's a great guy, and they've got some potential there. It's just, man, in the SEC, God, the amount of money, the amount of resources that goes into these programs, it's actually sickening.
Mm-hmm.
Like to think about how high the competition level is. Not just from a talent standpoint, but from a coaching standpoint. The best football minds in the game. That's what everybody's aiming for. That's what they all go out and hire. Everybody's looking for the next Nick Saban.
I love Venables as a DC. Like if RDC goes on to get a head coaching job and Venables doesn't make it at Oklahoma, like go get that man. Like I'm impressed with what he's done with defenses.
Oh
I
yeah,
just
Brent
don't
Venables
know.
is one of the best defensive coordinators in the last 10 years
For sure.
in college. Well,
Yeah.
how far back was he at Clemson? Because when he had those Clemson defenses looking amazing.
He was with them a minute. Like, but no, I respect his defensive mind. I just as a head coach, and for what Oklahoma has been over the years, they took a step back when he became the head man. I think he's still trying to figure it out, and maybe this is the year he puts it together. But nah, I'd rather go with Hugh than over a lot of those last guys. Levy remains to be seen. He's a good offensive mind, a great coordinator as well, but
the offense was humming last year.
Yeah.
All right, that rounds out the list. I didn't keep track of all of what the votes were on that one, but at least an interesting conversation. Let's get over here into the chat. A couple of super chats in here. Thank you guys for those. Perry Unlikely gets us started with how Auburn always has to be factored for sure.
Yeah.
You have to factor in. Again, that's why I said the situation that we're talking about here is not just coach for coach, but it has to be a coach that you feel like would fit at Auburn. You don't just get to put them into some mythical program with all the resource. Like if all things were equal, like would they work at Auburn? Because that's the coaching scenario that they'd be faced with. Because you can say what you want to, and I know the tomatoes are flowing freely from people right now as I start to utter this. Brian Harsin was not as bad a head coach as what he showed at Auburn, and the situation at Auburn just wasn't a good fit for Brian Harsin. Doesn't mean he's a terrible coach. It just means the landscape of college football has changed, and this is definitely not the right place for him. And so that has to be factored in every time you're having a conversation about who the head coach would be for Auburn. It has to be factored in that it's Auburn.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alan Berry comes in. I'll take the first 6 before Freeze. After that, it's a toss-up. It's kind of where we were with that. I don't know that we went all the way to number 6, but
I don't think I went to 6, but yeah.
4. I think there are 4, and then after that, it's a toss-up. Maybe not even 4. Was Kalen DeBoer 4?
He was 4.
It was 3.
I stopped at 3, but I picked like 2 after them, so it was about 5. So there's 5 that I would take ahead of Hugh Freeze.
Let's see. Alan jumps back in and says, also, DeBoer is unbeaten against Lanning, Sarkisian, and Smart. Okay, and made the Natty in his second year at Washington. Could Hugh do that? Maybe.
Beaten against Lanning.
So when he was at Washington, he beat Lanning at Oregon twice that year. He beat Steve Sarkisian
last year.
Yeah, he beat them to go to the championship when he was at Washington. Washington played Texas in the semifinal to
okay,
and then beat Kirby Smart last year when he as the Bama's head coach versus Georgia. Miraculous play there at the end, by the way. But
I get how this looks impressive, but no,
it is impressive. Like let's be clear, it is impressive.
It's impressive. I'm not going to take that from the guy.
Yeah,
I'm not going to. Mike, like nope. Nope.
Next one here from Sweat, who says, Freeze is our guy, the right guy to rebuild Auburn. 2025 will be known as AU25.
You here for it?
We got the schedule, the talent, and the staff, and it's all set up.
I'm here for it.
We got the schedule and the talent. We'll find out about the staff this year.
We will.
I mean, we had the staff to get the talent in,
which
is great, but they have yet to show that they are the staff to get the W's.
Yeah, this is going to be the year to see.
This is important. This is an important year for them.
For sure. Missed this super chat. Apologies here for Anthony Long, who says, I wonder if the chefs in the kitchen at Auburn look at what Kirby has done and have regrets.
I honestly, no.
Probably not. Yeah,
Anthony, no. I think their egos are this big. They would literally watch Auburn burn to the ground their way, then succeed and prosper somebody else's way.
To this day, they're probably like, Mike, the nerve of him to think that he's going to tell us what to do. With
I
our
don't know.
program.
I'm gonna take the opposite side on this from y'all.
Yeah.
I think that they regret it at this point in time. I think at the time they were saying to themselves, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, he hadn't proven anything.
Yeah, but now looking back, you have to look at it and say, I mean, we probably should have just given them the keys, bro. Like, I mean,
well, if you do that, if you had come to that realization, Ike, you would get out of the way with other coaches, right?
No.
If you really learn that lesson, if you really learn that lesson, are you still going to be who you are?
After Tuberville went,
you have to assume the next guy is Kirby Smart in order to have learned that particular lesson. Listen, man, we make relationship analogies all the time on this show, right?
I love relationship analogies. Let's do it.
So Kirby Smart was that attractive but not fully where you want them to be person. Like they maybe a little too immature, but like they look good, but it's like it's just something missing about them. I'm not sure they're ready for a relationship coach at that time. It's like potential could be really good, but not quite ready. But that doesn't mean that now every other time you evaluate your next person, you're not going to evaluate on the same level of like every person who they would have said is ready to go now looks at you like the person who blew it with Kirby.
Okay.
And so they don't want to date you. It's not that you are the person that's turning down the next Kirby Smart. The Kirby Smarts are now turning you down because they're like, they don't know what to do with Kirby Smarts. I'm not going over there.
So what you're saying is because you have baggage and they're good candidates,
Correct.
They're looking at you like, nah, I pass.
That 100%. Auburn is also y'all remember Shallow Hal? Like Auburn is also at the time the 6 pretending that they're an 8 saying no to the 8. And then when you look back on it, one side was delusional about where they stood in that ranking.
4, Mike. 4.
Yeah, and it was Auburn. So it's just you see yourself in a certain vein that's delusional. And so you're saying no to him based on an inflated sense of self. When the truth is, you are the program that should have said, here are the keys. We're going to get out of the way. We're tired of effing this up.
Yeah.
We're talking about relationship analogies. At some point, you have to be able to recognize that you were the problem at some point.
Right. I agree. And that's why I don't know that they've learned their lesson. I think that there's room for both of these things to exist. Yes, we missed on that one, but like in their mind, like, but I'm still fine though. You right now, as soon as I said that, you know a woman who thinks like that.
I know several. But what I'm saying is but what I'm saying though, Ike, is what I'm saying is at some point
it's never me, it's always you.
Like, do you enjoy these buyouts? Like, really? Do you really? Is this life? Is this what life is going to be like? We got 1 or 2 coaches that are not here that we're paying not to coach. Like, do you want to stop doing that?
How much alimony do you have on stock right now?
That's tough. It is tough. I think that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I believe the 2 things can be true. I think maybe there are some that regret it, Ike, but there are others who are still living in that delusion.
I'd agree with that.
Wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked, right? Yeah. So we both know it's more than one person. So
right.
There are probably some that said, "Oh man, we missed on Kirby. Should have done that over again." I don't. It's interesting. I don't think he would mind me sharing this, so I'll share it. Yeah, I had a long talk with Brian Harsin after his, firing, and I was sick. I was sick the day that he got fired, sitting in a Piedmont emergency room. So we didn't get a chance to immediately follow up. But I did get a chance to ask him one question. And, I was putting together something, but I scrapped it because I got the overwhelming sense that Auburn fans were just ready to move on. But in this conversation, we talked for about 4 hours. And the question that I had for him was, do you regret anything? Would you have done different? Are there players you wish you had done better for? And the answer to that question was overwhelmingly was yes. It's a ton I would have done differently, given hindsight. I know what he projects on social media, but he knows that there was a lot where they came up short. Not just as a head coach, but as a staff. And, like I said, I think maybe they underestimated a little bit what the job was. I think Auburn fans are ready to move on, which is why I haven't really reported out on this conversation. But if there ever comes a time, I know, and I had to go and ask him, I know that he would give me the time to come up with a camera and sit down and go through everything. It's just Auburn is something it's just a very different beast. And when you talk to him, you get a sense of the different type of beast that Auburn is. And you got to be made of some special stuff, man, to survive here. But you also have to be the guy. You have to be the candidate they choose. You have to be the candidate they choose. And they reserve the right to revoke that choice at any point.
Yeah.
They wanted, there were a lot. Everyone was on the same page about Tommy Tuberville. But they also, the wrong people wanted him out in 2003. And after he won every single game the year after they tried to oust him, and they literally had to fire the AD and the president of the university, all those people who wanted him out didn't stop wanting him out.
Yeah.
Right. They just waited until it was a little bit more publicly tenable to do it.
Yeah.
Took them 4 more years after that, but they got what they wanted. And what they didn't want was Tommy Tuberville as coach.
Why?
That's exactly where I was going with this season.
Okay.
Right? Is that those people who wanted him out in light of him the next season giving us a season that, quite frankly, defined the future, the immediate future of college football. 2004 Auburn changed not only the SEC, but the BCS as well, too. No SEC team would ever be left out of a championship game after what Tuberville gave us in 2004. It was historic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that guy had no protection. His only protection was the truth, which, thank God for the reporter who figured out the flight situation that they tried so hard. How they were like flying into New Orleans and driving to Kentucky, and they thought they were so smart. And all, the flights are public record. Someone figured it out and blew their whole spot up. But those people, I promise you, that initiated that process to this day still think they're right.
Right.
They still think they're right. And it was refreshing to at least talk to Harsin and have him admit, yeah, man, I was wrong about a lot of things. I don't think he will say a lot of that publicly because people have attacked him so much that he doesn't want to give an inch to those people publicly. But at some point, you just have to realize where you're wrong. I think he realized it. I think there are some people, like I said, that would have realized it back when Kirby was on the table to say, hey, we messed up. But I still think there are too many people who feel like they were right. As to why we don't see change and why I want to see Hugh Freeze work out. Because if this is the best that we're going to get, those people who felt they were right then are the same people who made the decision to bring Hugh Freeze in. That's how much power they wield.
Right.
And I would rather them be right and see Auburn succeed. That's
because there's no alternative at this point. It doesn't appear to be any other alternative.
They're going to get their way.
Yeah.
They're going to get their way more often than not. So I just pray. I pray that they're right. Dear Lord, give these haters discernment.
What a prayer.
Give these haters discernment is
so that we can
what
a more championships on the plains. I mean, look, they bought a lot of people were upset when Gene Chizik got hired. And even though he got fired 2 years later, Auburn got a championship and a Heisman out of it. Somebody came to the airport. We want to win or not a loser.
Classic.
I'm telling you, you cannot underestimate those who.
When we were talking about when y'all did the whole, now that we're here, when we did the whole 20 past moments of 2025, I was thinking about stuff like that, like those moments. I was thinking about those moments. Like I wasn't thinking strictly like plays or whatnot. I was like, yeah, that has to stand out.
Listen, man, Caesar. Maybe if you got some time in the coming weeks, we can do a member only thing and we can reminisce on stuff like that. That'd be something. Green Name Gang, y'all bring all of your moments in infamy for Auburn in the last 25
Don't
years.
forget the Alabama fan that set tumors on fire.
Oh, we got plenty. Oh,
I think it was.
Yeah, we need to figure out a way to do a members only situation and get together and talk about some of those. I think our members would enjoy that. All right, but we got to get out of here, folks. It's been a great conversation. Appreciate everybody who's dropped in. I am going to drop this bomb on you guys just because I saw it in the comments before we get out of here. Aunt Robinson says, "What about baby blue jerseys like the baseball team?"
I thought about that. But Ole Miss kind of beat us to that punch with the baby blue. I don't want them having saying anything. I don't want Broken Ugly saying anything about it.
They would definitely say that, and people
would.
People would flip out if Auburn wore baby blue jerseys. I don't think that would ever happen. I'm not really mad.
I like the idea. I'm not mad at it. It's just
I would like that as just a novelty thing that they sold. I don't know if I want to see it on the field. So yeah. All right. Anyway, let's get out of here. Mike G, tell the good people more ways that they can support what we got going on at the War Report.
Join as a member, $5.99 a month will get you there. We appreciate all our patrons. As I mentioned, we're doing film reviews. So if you guys want to get on that content, please sign up as a member. You can also see another form of the film review on our website. Go check out our written content. You'll get a little sneak preview of what Ike is doing there at thewarreport.com. Click on football. You'll see those film review articles there for you guys to consume as well. Want to thank everybody who gave away a membership on this. Also want to thank our title sponsor, Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights. Code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. Work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. Well, I think the Rogue Shop, visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORTER to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop that has something that has you covered. Also want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. If you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, visit them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Last but certainly not least, guys, check us out on podcasts. Every single podcast platform, we are there bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. The Auburn Express, Uptempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming Channel, bringing you guys what you need in audio-only format. So whether you're on your way to work, school, on your way to the grocery store, on your way to the gym, we've got you covered there with all your favorite Auburn content, easy to listen to there on your phone and in your headphones. So subscribe on podcast, turn on automatic downloads for us. This helps us a ton, and enjoy the content. We've got lots of great stuff for you there. Over 63 podcast episodes in the month of June for you guys alone, and we're still going. So there's plenty of content to keep fill up your Auburn calendar, covering a wide range of topics. So some stuff that we can't get to here, we get to on podcast.
Yes, indeed. Before you all get out of here, make sure that you share the video with somebody out there. I want to see at least 100 shares. I don't know if I've ever seen 100 shares on a pod, but on show, but let's get that happening. Like the video before you get out of here as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit us up on social media at X and Instagram at the War Report, TW Report on TikTok. Out of here until the next time. And as always, War Eagle, holla at y'all the next time.